All right, I'm going to give a presentation on BEPS as a sponge tax and will U.S. taxable basis be lost to BEPS. This is a presentation based off an article by David Eric. Will a sponge tax soak up BEPS concerns? And the presentation will address broader policy implications. So the first thing is the United States has sought to minimize tax erosion uh, of its taxable basis by use of M&Es. This is also a goal of BEPS. The United States has sought to minimize erosion of taxable base by U.S. multinationals. This is also a goal of BEPS. The article starts off by discussing the OECD and G20 project in cooperation with each other for BEPS. The that is the OECD. The article starts off by discussing the project above the OECD and the G20 for BEPS. Here's a picture of the OECD and the G20 countries are colored as well as 2016 guests, and I have strived to have proper attribution from these sources that I retrieved from Wikipedia, including the OECD logo. But basically, the project is to avoid the taxable base of erosion, the taxable the base erosion of profit, base erosion and profit shifting. Overall, this is a good thing, the author argues, but focuses on some issues. First of all, the U.S. Treasury Department has focused primarily on stripping of U.S. tax base, which is also a goal. And foreign countries gain tax while the U.S. does not. Conflicts with the U.S. Within the U.S. Basically, these negotiations have gone without the input of Congress, but that's just an internal issue. But the death and estate tax, that's something just to keep in the background. The death and estate tax, there's an analogy, as the death estate tax incentivizes states to maximize the maximum that they could, foreign countries will tax the maximum, will be incentivized to tax the maximum amount that the U.S. will subsidize. That's the conclusion of the analogy. But basically, first of all, the first premise is the death tax analogy. The tax imposed by Section 201, bracketed rates of income, shall be credited. Shall be credited. Section 201, this is the table that was referenced, and it shall not exceed the amount, the taxable amount in the left bracket. So analogously, so this article argues, as it turns out, a Nobel Prize winning economist says as well that the foreign jurisdictions will be incentivized to collect on tax that normally goes to the U.S. This means higher taxes for U.S. companies and So, if the foreign countries allow for the OECD project, U.S. multinationals have paid greater taxes abroad and claim for fat tax credits. Thus, U.S. tax revenue could erode from a huge increase in foreign tax credits. Oh, hold up. I wanted to do something that I forgot. All right, so back to the death tax and the analogy. It will, if foreign countries follow the OECD project and provide, in the sense that the U.S. will be crediting what the countries have paid or the companies have paid abroad, U.S. could revenue could be eroded. The issue magnified in the example, a foreign government could impose its taxes up to 15%. Because there would be no negative effect on business investments by U.S. companies. So this doesn't affect the companies, but it does affect the revenue being gained by the U.S. Other proposals would include taxing income globally has changed as the United States use more hybrid structures. These hybrid structures allow U.S. tax-paying companies to gain credit without any to gain a credit for an item of income that doesn't really exist. OECD BEPS Action 2 also has some subsidiary issues, putting a strain on the independent underpinnings of how it'll affect the U.S. generally.